I realized that I hadn't done any desserts yet. And desserts are really something that people will happily skip dinner for just to have. In fact, I'd have a lot of friends that will actually have dessert first and then figure out what they want to eat afterward. So today I'm going to show you a super simple end of summer strawberry shortcake. This shortcake I'm going to show you how to make is something that hits all the notes for me. Beautiful, crispy, crumbly, and it's got this texture that's somewhere between a biscuit and a scone. It's absolutely fantastic, and a lot of times I'll eat it without even adding the fruit. Just have that as a little thing with your coffee. Now, shortcake is a quick bread. Quick breads are those types of breads that are not leavened by yeast, but are leavened by chemical reaction. In this recipe, you're going to have buttermilk, which is an acid, along with baking soda and baking powder. Those are going to combine and they're going to create gas. That gas is captured by the actual batter itself, and then when it hits the oven, all that air expands and that gives you that rise. Alright, so that's everything. Let's get to it. Our first step is our mise en place. We're going to get everything together, make sure it's all measured out, get the bread made into the oven, 400 degrees. So if you're following along, go ahead and start that oven at 400. And then we're just going to move right through. Now what you're looking for is a nice beautiful break open here, and when it comes apart you can smell the butter in it, and it doesn't crumble but it does pull apart. Alright, we have just about everything we need to make the shortcake. Flour, salt, baking soda, baking powder, and sugar right into the bowl. Get those nice and mixed together. Then we're going to massage in the butter until you get this texture that looks a bit like sand. Now when you're doing this, make sure you use a big bowl because the next step, we're going to put it into the freezer for a little bit, just so it cools down. And then from there, we're going to be adding in our buttermilk. Once you add in the buttermilk, you're going to want to move quickly because all those gases that are generated by the baking soda and the baking powder reacting with the buttermilk's acid are going to build up, and you don't want to lose them. That's what's going to leaven our shortcake. When you're massaging it through, you want to have a light touch. After this step, this is going to go into the freezer for about 10 minutes. So here's what we're looking for. Kind of sandy looking in appearance. If you squeeze it, it'll kind of hold together like that. Let's get it into the freezer for about 15 minutes, and then we'll be right back. So with rosemary, you have a nice woody stem. Unlike cilantro and parsley, you can't use that. But one thing you can do is grab the leaves and pull this way against the stem, and they'll just come right off. There we go. After we get the shortcakes into the oven, the brown butter that's left, we're going to put this into and then just kind of lightly infuse it. Let's brown 3 tablespoons of butter. This will do is just give us some good extra flavor on top of the shortcake as they cook. Do this over medium heat and take your time with it. It's okay to use a lower heat just so you don't burn it. What you're looking for is a nice brown color from the butter, but not black. It doesn't take a lot of time to brown your butter, but you have to be very focused on it because it can go from brown to burnt very quickly. Our shortcake dough is out of the freezer. It's been in there for about 10 minutes or so, and it's feeling nice and cool. I also had the buttermilk that's going to go into it in there for about 10 minutes as well. We're going to get these combined, and then we got to move fast. We got to portion it and get it into the oven. We're going to bake this at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 40 to 45 minutes based on how they look. Don't use all the buttermilk right away. Save just a little bit, because sometimes you need all of it, sometimes you don't. And it's looking like we're coming together pretty good, but we're likely going to need the rest of the buttermilk here. You're going to come together in this shaggy dough that sticks to you pretty good if you stick your hand in there. See? Clean clean that spoon off, and then we're gonna move to using a disher to portion everything out. This is a Model 80 disher, which means it's about 1.5 ounces. One of these scoops is great for a meatball or a cookie, and 2 of these is perfect for a strawberry shortcake. So I'm gonna get to portioning. We're gonna get 12 scoops out of this. That's gonna make 6. Gonna fill the entire sheet pan, and then we're gonna paint it with some brown butter and then throw it in the oven. Now after you have them all portioned, feel free to do a little bit of corrective shaping. And what I do is I like them to stay nice and rough, but kind of shape them into roundish-ish shapes. All right, here's our beurre noisette. Our beurre noisette, that's a hard one to say. And just go through and paint it on. These are ready to go. One last thing we can do. This is a little bit of super fine sugar. And just put a little on top. All you're really doing here, you're not doing this to sweeten it. It's going to add just a little bit of a textural quality, just a little crunch. And here we go. That's in 400 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. Now that the shortcakes are in the oven, it's time for us to get our strawberries ready to be the filling. First step, take one of these beautiful strawberries, and we're just taking the top off. So I'm kind of choked up on my paring knife here, as you can see. And there it goes. There we go. I could have used a smaller bowl. Well, here's our sugar. Sugar on. Remember that rosemary I chopped? Just a little, just a little. And now we've got one last thing to put in here. Passe Courvoisier. Gonna do just a little bit of Courvoisier. If you have kids, it's up to you. What I normally do is about 1/2 ounce. And now, so here we are. Nice, dressed in the sugar. This is gonna macerate, needs to sit in the fridge. Give it about a 1/2 hour. By then, our shortcake will be done and out of the oven, and we can put everything together. All right, one more step before the shortcake come out of the oven. Let's make up a quick whipped cream. So I'm starting with heavy whipping cream. You don't want to use half and half. You don't want to use light cream, anything like that. You want to use heavy whipping cream. 35% fat or more. If you can get 40-45% fat, it's going to whip up better. I'm also going to add, this is about 2 teaspoons of sugar. It's just going to make it really lightly sweet, and I'm not even using it all. I probably put about 1.5 teaspoons in there, and then you just do the work. Alright, I think that looks good. Now let's get these out of the oven. Here's our shortcakes. Absolutely beautiful. And then the sugar that I put on these crisped up a little bit. So you're going to get a little bit of texture when you bite into them. Oh, these are going to be amazing. Here we have our brown butter with the rosemary, our macerated strawberries. They're looking great and they've got a nice syrup. Whipped cream's ready. And let's cut into this bad boy. Look at that. Nice, soft, bouncy when you touch it. Smells like buttermilk and butter. First step, just a little bit of this here. And also put a little bit on the top. Next, we're going to get our strawberries on. And we're not plating this for a restaurant, so have fun. Make it look the way you want. If it's messy, it's good. I think that's a good bit of strawberry. Now with the whipped cream, I put it on a couple times. So this first bit right here on top. And then take your top, make sure you line up with the bottom. And go down. And then a little dollop of the whipped cream right on top. There we go. And here we have strawberry shortcake restaurant style. All right, really, this is the part I've been waiting for. The biscuit itself, super crispy. Great flavor comes from that rosemary and brown butter. And the strawberries are tart, not too sweet, just the right level of balance. All in all, this is freaking amazing. I'm probably gonna have this for dinner tonight. This is, You see how easy it is? You see how much I'm loving it? This is really the highlight of my week. So give it a try. It's nice, it's simple, it's quick. Summer is ending, or hey, winter is coming. Get some strawberries and have one last hurrah, so to speak. One last dessert that celebrates summer. In fact, I think this is probably the last one I'm gonna have until next year. And that's kind of sad, but I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it.